practice this a lot.
Why the long face?
Ready? Serious business here.
This is very serious.
Hey, it's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
Yeah, we're going to work on cornering today. Is that true?
Yeah, that's what the boss said.
Yeah, all right. Well, I didn't get all the notes from the boss, but what I was thinking about, we're talking about today is front foot turns.
Yes.
So a topic that's near and dear to my heart. It's actually how I got started in coaching, from having a really, really horrible right hand turn. This is the thing that when I'm working with high level riders, when I'm working with medium level riders, kind of really riders of all abilities, when they get their front foot turn going, they're able to link multiple turns together in a way that really amplifies their speed exponentially. Mm-hmm. And that's because they're no longer just making a good turn then a bad turn. So they're able to make a good turn followed by another good turn. And for the high level riders I teach, like when I was working with Jason as a student, he's also one of our coaches who you've seen in some of these videos. He talks about the fact that his front foot turn was the single biggest improvement to his riding that he learned in his time with me. You think about people like Amy Morrison, then EWS racer, a lot of the top riders who have come through our school here have all started off with no front foot turn. You know, and so it's pretty interesting to watch really high level riders come in and not even know what a front foot turn is. So we're going to talk about it today. We're really going to isolate this. We've talked about this in other videos, but we're going to get into it today and talk about the differences between our front foot and our back foot turn. We're also going to address a question that we get a lot, which is, when do I switch my feet? I was told that I'm supposed to switch my feet, and we get a lot of riders coming into our in-person classes, and they're switching their feet in between turns, and it's super, super clunky. So we'll just address that right now. We don't switch feet. Okay, we're either going to be left foot forward or we're going to be right foot forward. You and I are both left foot forward riders. And so for us, we're going to be making our front foot turn when we're turning right. So what I encourage riders to do is to think about a front foot turn and a back foot turn, because the dynamics are slightly different, and then to really focus on that rather than thinking about left or right hand turns. So if you're a left foot forward rider, your right hand turn is always your front foot turn. If you're a right foot forward rider, a left hand turn is always your front foot turn. So with that being said, we'll just get right into the mix of what we're working on here.
Cool. So I've been thinking about this a lot actually since we've been practicing a lot of cornering. And I've also gotten a lot of video, and I've done a lot of slalom drill just down gravel roads. And with that, I've noticed from the video and also just from the feel of it, that front foot turn, if you have an asymmetric stance, it's never going to feel the same turning right and turning left. This front knee doesn't like to drive into the frame, so I've been consciously practicing specific elements on my front foot turn.
Yeah, you really have to break this one down for most people. And it's not even just the outside body and the hips, it's even the inside knee isn't free to open on our front foot turn. So there are some differences in the way our inside knee is pointing through the turn as well. The other thing for most people is most people tend to carry their more coordinated, their stronger leg in the back. So you're also stepping, generally speaking, not for everybody, but you're also stepping onto your second most coordinated leg or your second strongest leg, right? And so that is another thing too. And that kind of keeps us in the back seat on the bike a lot. It keeps us over our comfortable leg, over our back leg. And that front foot is kind of the unknown. And as you start to kind of dip into that territory and as you start to get more comfort there, a lot of things kind of unfold and riding just gets a lot better. We'll get into it here, talk about the differences, and hopefully give you some good cues for working on this at home and making a super solid front foot turn. So, superstar.
Sorry, what were we doing?
That's what we're doing. That's what we're here for.
Yes.
That's the important stuff. All right. So assume your riding stance.
Here.
So you're left foot forward like me.
Yes.
So from this riding stance here, like just bring a little bit of balance into your leg. And what we notice here is, like, if we look down, is we notice that the back knee is right over the ball of the back foot, right? Like it's already in a great position to like accelerate off and turn. So that's why our back foot turn feels so comfortable, because it's right underneath us and we're set to rock. What's it going to take to get on our front foot in the same way? It's going to take.
Oh, you have to shift really far.
You have to shift really far forward to get into that athletic, like into your quad in an athletic way. Yeah. Notice how non-engaged your left leg is until you start to roll forward and create that engagement, right? So that's the initial input that we need to make as we're approaching the turn, is we need to like start to roll forward and get pressure toward that front foot so that our muscle in our left leg in our front leg, I should say, because if you're a right foot forward rider, this would be happening on the other side, just like that. Yep. Yeah. So the muscle in our front leg starts to activate. And this is why this is a little bit more difficult. Like if I stand with in a way over my body where my knee is over the midfoot, I'm not going to be nearly as athletic. Let's just try that with our feet side by side next to one another. And you guys at home can just jump up from the computer and give this a try. Like feel what this feels like in your body. So from here, we're just going to jump up and down with our feet at like a hip width distance. So just jump up and down a little bit because it's fun, right? So you feel how athletic that is. And what you notice here on film is that the knees are right over the ball of the feet, right? So that's putting us in that athletic stance. Now bring your weight back, to your knees back like 1.5 inches, just so your weight's over the arches of your feet instead of over the balls of your feet, and try to jump. It's really hard, right? It's really non-athletic. So we're not really like in our muscular system when we're there. So we're just trying to get into that athletic place on that front foot. So when we're in that offset stance, we're moving to that same place where we could actually feel like we could jump off that left leg.
And what I'm also noticing here is how much easier it is to rotate left
Yes.
or toward my front foot versus turning right.
Yeah.
Toward.
So a couple things happen here. So when you create rotation here, this knee is very easy to open, right? And that actually makes opening the hips easier. When you're turning the other direction, you're onto your front foot, it's you can't open this knee because of the straight nature of that back leg, right?
Yeah, and that's what I've been feeling in all this slalom drill. I can drive here, but every time I go to the right and I need to make this front foot turn, this knee just goes straight forward instead of actually driving in and rotating.
Yeah, exactly. And so like the thing that I try to think about there when I'm trying to get that front hip to rotate is I really like visualize this kind of idea of having a light on my hip, and I'm really trying to bring it in, and it still doesn't feel nearly as natural as my back foot turn, but it's getting better and better. So this is something that when we watch World Cup riders, this is like a separator. This is something that really like the people with the strong front foot turns are doing better as racers because they're able to carry more speed through terrain and have a lot more control. All right, so let's just practice this now on the bike a little bit.
All right.
Get it going.
Going back.
Nice. Yeah, it was a good one. So let's do a couple more, and then we'll get Kyle over to film the entrance so we can really see what's setting you up for success, because it's that movement forward onto that leg that's really setting you up well. If you're just tuning in now, she's making this look really easy, but if you've been watching the last couple of years, she's practiced this a lot, and it takes a lot of practice to get a good front foot turn.
Dropping.
That was really good. I mean, what you felt, the reason you got some oversteer there, the reason you almost turned too tight, was because of how deliberately you set your front foot here.
Yeah.
Right? You got a lot of power out of it, which is good. Just means you can tone down the way you set your front foot there for this radius of turn.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna go see how she's doing this. She's using a little bit of a cheat sheet back here. Let's go take a look at it.
What? How dare you accuse me? Unbelievable. Oh. So apparently I'm cheating.
Busted.
So
You've
much
got your
trouble.
color-coded cone. I know you were paying a lot of attention to that. So once you've like stood and figured out what this feels like to stand in your comfortable stance and move toward your front leg and to get into that athletic position, we're going to use a cueing cone to help you do this in real time when you're practicing. So we've set up a red cone here just before the entrance to the turn. And this is Linnea's cue to start to move toward that for her left leg and start to get some weight on it, but to start to really think about driving the knee over the ball of the foot so she's in that athletic place. And this is really what's setting you up for such a good turn, is that you're on that leg. And the reason people struggle here is it's really hard to get on our front foot. So if we can create a cueing cone like this that helps us move into a turn, we can start to habituate ourselves to moving in a way that's maybe new for us. This takes time, this takes practice, and I know that's something you've done a lot of. Got a lot of practice in this, doing this over the last couple of years, and really seen a huge leap forward in your trail speed. And I think a lot of that is a function of the front foot turn.
Well, I love the slalom drill. I know you called it the Holy Grail. We did this one of our first episodes. I've been out here with friends taking videos, and it's a really nice way to compare the patterns on one turn to the patterns on the other turn. So I've been comparing what are the trends for a front foot turn and the trends for a back foot turn, and trying to work on those elements individually.
Yeah, it's a really good way to break things down. And it's a super fun social thing to do with your friends. So grab a stack of cones, get out and practice your slalom, and you'll definitely see us doing the same.